Hello friends, this video is made to help understand Season 3 a little better, what to expect, and how to think about preparing them. I made this based on decisions and mistakes I've made so far, and to remind myself what my next plans are for the future. So technically this video is for me for reminders. Let's cover the basics first. Season 3 starts at 1620 eye level. Finishing story will grant you access to Canoe Fortress to get T4 gears. If you transfer your T4 gear, it's plus 20 eye level per piece. But Advanced Hone will also require T4 materials if you transfer. Dailies is 1640 and 1660, Guardian is 1640, and Field Boss is 1640 as well. The new raid egg gear is 1660 on normal and 1680 on hard. Ancient accessories are obtained or usable from 1680. So if you're under 1680 and kill the Field Boss, you won't be able to get ancient accessories at all. Going over the Ark Passive, you have Evolution and Enlightenment points. Evolution points is based on what kind of gears you have and the combat level, and this is where you level up your combat stats and extra attributes. You can check the extra attributes on different fan sites like Lost Ark Nexus because they do have a detailed information on it. But what's important here is based on how many points you have, you can allocate 40, you can allocate 30, and then you can allocate 20 and go on and so forth. If you have two sets of gears, what you can do is you can allocate points. Let's say I allocate on crit and I allocate on swiftness on the rest. I can level up other attributes here up to 30. I can also level up to 20 and I can have access to tier 3 stuff. And from this point, you do have enough points to justify to open up Ark Passive. So again, evolution points are based on your armor plus combat level. T4 relic is 8 points each, total 40 points. T4 ancient is 20 points each, which is total 100 points. It's a lot different. And your combat level is 1 point per level to 70. So from 50 to 70 is 20 points total. 2 ancient pieces to grant you enough points to yield stronger bonuses on specific style builds like Nightmare, Dominion, etc. And Egg Gear Hard gives you 1 ancient piece every week, and Egg Gear Normal gives you 1 ancient piece every 2 weeks. On the first week though, they do give you a first clear bonus to craft 1 piece. So technically if you're Egg Gear Normal, your third week you will have 2 pieces. And for hard mode, you'll have 3 pieces. You can transfer over to Ark Passive at minimum to 2 to 3 pieces based on class. Supports are 3 to 4 based on combat level, which is 90 points. And the reason being is these two are the evolution points that the supports need, which is equivalent to Yearning. And this requires 30 points, and this requires 20 points total. And since I don't have enough points to level this up to 2, I would need to have 1 more set piece in order for me to level up this point up to have my Yearning effect for the whole team. So if you're a support player, you would have to wait until 3 pieces. So transferring Ark Passive doesn't really mean you get all the cool stuff from the trailer right away. You need to work on the Enlightenment points to get new things. The Enlightenment points are your class engraving. It's only increased by side quests and accessories only. You can only choose 1 path and choose side nodes with extra points. So coming back here, I don't have the tier 4 accessories yet because I'm planning to get them this week. So as for Gunlasser, we have the red Gunlasser node here and then we have the blue Gunlasser node here. You can only choose 1 path, so I can either be red or blue. And each costs 8 points. So if I level this up to 3, it's 24. And then I will need 24 points on total to level this to 3 to access the third node. And then I will need to level this up to 3 times again to access the 4th tier node, which is the new stuff. So therefore, if you want to level up to tier 4 to get the new stuff, you need to have 80 points total. And as for these side nodes, it costs 2 points each, and you can have up to level 5. Therefore, you need 10 points to level it up to max. So if you're blue or red, doesn't really matter. Let's say the front dash one, it does benefit both red and blue. So you can consider these as neutral nodes. Quality over 67 is max Enlightenment points per accessory, so all you need to do is have it at least over 67. Necklace gives you 4 at the start, earring gives you 3 at the start, and rings give you 3 at the start. Quality anything beyond this is more on main stats like strength, dex, and intelligence, and HP as well. It's a very minuscule difference. The big differences between relic and ancient accessories comes after polishing. So what is polishing? If you talk to an NPC here, you can select the relic accessory or the ancient accessory. You will be using fragments, and these fragments are gathered 1 to 1 if you dismantle your accessory from like Chaos Dungeons and Guardian raids and even Egg Gear raid, and also including Behemoth raid. If you dismantle them, you get 1, and as for relics, it costs you 10 to press it and then 600 gold. And when you press it, you get up to 1 point on the evolution, and you get a random stat from these pool of tables. So as you can see, I got attack power at legendary, and from these pools you have stats like crit rate at rare, crit rate at heroic, and crit rate at legendary. And getting to legendary is 0.7% each, and getting heroic is about 3% each, and getting rare is about 6.3% each of this whole table based on the Lost Ark's main site. If you try to polish for the second time, it costs 20 fragments instead, but the gold is the same, 600 gold. And from here, you get from 4 to 6 Enlightenment points total, and you get to have random stats from the side. And then the third one, it will be costing 30, so therefore I use 10, 20, and then 30, which is total 60 fragments. And if you do it for the third time, you go from 6 to 9 Enlightenment points. So coming back, looking at a glance, Relic is 600G per tab, 10 fragments on the first one for 1 Enlightenment point, 20 fragments for 2 Enlightenment points, and 30 fragments for 3 Enlightenment points. And as for Ancients, it's 1200 per tab, but it costs a lot more fragments. It costs 75 fragments for 2 Enlightenment points, 150 fragments for 3 Enlightenment points, and 225 fragments for 4 Enlightenment points. So if you have fully polished Relic set, you will have 10 points on neck and 9 on ring and earring, which is 46 points total. If you have fully polished Ancient, you have 13 on neck and 12 on ring and earring, which is total 61 points. So why is this important? Each level costs 8 points and you need 24 points to unlock it. In order for you to activate the last T4 node, you need 8 points on top of 72 points. If you have 72 points total though, you can level up to T3 nodes, which is exactly the same stats as what you have right now as class engraving. Therefore, if you want to open up T4, you need 80 points total. If you can't, you should have at least up to 72, which is very easy with full Relic. And any additional points you get on top of that, you can level up side nodes in the process. So continuing, maximum points possible is 92 points. It's level 70 combat level, plus 20, all side quests plus 11, and Ancients at plus 61. However, most of the players in Korea are stuck at 87 due to Field Boss rare drop, and this is what people are really mad about. Because you're actually 1 point away from T4 node at being level 2, which is about 7 to 8% damage increase for most classes. It's actually pretty infuriating because you're locked by RNG instead. So basically all side quests, if you don't have the field boss loot, it's plus 6. If you have the field boss loot, it's plus 11. It's a big difference. Maybe it could be changed tomorrow or maybe it could be changed in the future. But it's really hard to get that plus by Enlightenment point. By the time the West gets it, it might be a little bit different. So if you use all relic accessories, which is a 1660 character, you cannot unlock T4 as of now, so you can't get the new stuff. But you can get max levels on T3 at 72 points, which is going to have the exact same effect as your level 3 class engraving. And this is really important because your class engraving is going to be the same, and you'll be getting additional benefits from the evolution points. And if you enable Ark Passive, your default neutral engraving is going to be 5 3s. So at bare minimum, you're going to be at least 12% more powerful. Even if you don't read the relic portion of it, you will still be much stronger because you'll be adding another engraving on top of what you have. So in essence, opening up Ark Passive is the #1 priority, even if you use all relic accessories. Therefore, the cheapest way is to mix relics and ancients. The goal is to open Ark Passive as soon as possible if you get your 2nd to 3rd ancient gear. At minimum, you'll be at least 12% stronger even with relics, as I said. So let's go over an example. If your goal is opening up to T3, which is 72 points, at level 70 combat level, if you have all relic accessories, you're actually okay. But if you're 69 to 67, 1 ancient accessory should be changed. Or if you're at 66 to 64, 2 ancient accessories are needed, and so on. And again, this is dependent if you have the field boss loot or not. If you do have the field boss loot, you probably don't even need ancient accessory at all. If your goal is opening T4 node to try new things, which is 80 points, it depends on if you have the field boss reward or not. You can have up to 2 relic accessories to open up the T4 node. If your goal is opening T4 node to try out new things and have side nodes on top of that, it's 82 points plus. So all ancient is mandatory and you need field boss to get T4 node to level 2, which is the min-max portion of this right now. So the reason why I'm showing this cost again is 10 fragments, 20 fragments, 30 fragments, and 75, 150, and 225. Getting 5 ancient accessories require 450 fragments total, and this is times 5. So if you actually happen to build your own ancient accessory build, you need 2,250 fragments if you polish it all for yourself. This is the reason why all the ancient accessories are super expensive right now, because not many people have fragments, and you can only get a limited amount per day. Fragments are very, very valuable at the moment, and it's going to be very valuable when you get it in the West as well. So every day you get about 16 to 23-ish fragments from dailies. Fragments are character bound, but you can mail 20 accessories every day throughout your roster. So as you can see here, my main gun lancer, I go to my mail here, and these are my ults sending me the accessories. And this particular ult is my breaker at 1640. All he does is run chaos dungeons and is sending me accessories so that I can use it for fragments. So since I have all these extra accessories that I have, I can dismantle them and get additional fragments. And we have to do this way because the fragments are actually character bound, they're not roster bound, which I don't get, but that's how it is right now. Dismantling already polished piece yields 40% of the shards. So if you dismantle a full relic, which is 60, it gives you 24 shards. So what people do is they search already polished accessories, and they usually cost that 7,000 up to 8,000. And they do this because they want to sell the fragments. And what people do is they buy them, they get the fragments, and they use those fragments to polish their ancient accessories. What this also means that you can just choose a decent asset and then just buy it and then use it yourself. So all these accessories are really cheap because all you need is Enlightenment points. So the market is pretty healthy for relic accessories at the moment. So in conclusion, if you do have an alt, alts can mail 20 accessories to your main every day, and you should be doing it at the start of Season 3. If you don't have an alt, that's okay too. And at the same time, alts can also polish relics themselves and sell for fragments, which is stabilized at 78k gold at the moment. Or you can just simply use it yourself if you're parking at 1660. So if you're at 1660, you would polish your own accessory and then just use it as it is, because your goal is just opening Ark Passive. And using all relic accessories is okay. Now let's talk about accessories and polish stats and attributes. This is really important because this is what is making the accessories cost like millions of gold. So the pool of random assets are legendary, heroic, and rare, and it's different per piece. So for necklace, this is additional damage, and this is additional damage to enemies. So these two are basically the same thing, and this is the S tier stats that you can get. And as for rare, it's 0.7%, but for legendary, it's 2.6%. It's a huge difference. And as for support asset, this is identity gain, is 6% versus this 1.6% on the rare. And this is marking damage, which is 8% versus 2.15%. Marking is a new stat that we have, and this is impacting the actual marking damage. There's no specific math for it just yet because supports can't really tell how much damage that the DPS is doing unless they tell them. But this does impact a lot of damage that the support is affecting. Going over to the rings, there are crit rate and then there's crit damage. And as for supports, there is attack power buff efficiency and then attack power identity buff efficiency on top of that as well. This is 7.5 and 5%. As for earrings, there's only two stats that are pretty important, which is attack power and weapon attack power. There is party heal and there's party shield, but these two mathematically are not that great. So you're actually better off having like HP or something like that. So for earrings, for DPS, it's really important to get attack power and weapon power. And as for support, you only need weapon attack power, probably HP or anything else that you would need. And as you can see here, necklace is the most important, rings are the next important thing, and earrings are the least important. So the big strategy here is, as for earrings, people tend to buy already polished earrings and then start rolling for necklaces and rings and buy more expensive necklaces or expensive rings because these tends to be way more important than earrings. So rolling for earrings, pretty much a waste of fragments. You can just say that. Going over the efficiency, most efficient is one legendary special asset. So if you get an empty necklace, you roll for it. If you get a legendary one-liner, you can actually sell it. As you can see here, these are the necklaces and I searched it by additional damage. This is 0.7, so it's low, and 1.6, this is medium, and 2.6 is high. And when it's 2.6 is high, it's 550k. And if you look at here, this is low and it's 400k. And people are selling this at a much higher price because it's at higher quality. But in reality, this 68 quality accessory is way more valuable than this 93 quality accessory because it has legendary attack damage and it's 1% more. So people tend to buy a single roll, and if you're looking for single rolls, these are the references that you should be looking for. And buying a single roll and then rolling it for yourself is a good idea because you're actually guaranteed to have one really good stat. If you have one legendary stat, you actually have a really good build. At the same time, there are double heroic. People tend to buy 2 heroic lines and then finish the last one because 1, you can save fragments for it, and 2, you have decent stats on top of that as well. So obviously there are different strategies for it. I'll probably make another video by the time you guys will get Season 3. And these are the general strategies that most people are looking into and what stuff that you will need to look for. Okay, so everything is calculated based on fragments. So always have fragments as last resort because fragments, you get so little every day. And if you run out of fragments, you have no choice to buy relic ones or just resort with relic accessories. For example, if you're 1660 and planning to reach 1680, you have to save all fragments, don't roll for yourself. You can buy any polished relics, it's really cheap. And it's going to be really cheap in the future because everyone's going to be having it. And you can just buy them to enable Ark Passive while running Aegir normal. And after that, you can upgrade one accessory at a time to Ancient after getting 1680. If you get an Ancient accessory from Aegir, you can roll for yourself, or you can buy a decent one at a good price and then roll for yourself again. This is why you need fragments, and fragments are very, very important. Again, this is because there will be people posting accessories because they have bad rolls, and you can snatch them too. The additional benefits from polish is plus alpha, meaning they're just extra assets on top of your strength after switching to Ark Passive. Activating Ark Passive itself will make you so much powerful. You don't necessarily need legendary polish attributes. They are amazing, but not mandatory at the moment. So let's look over the eye levels that Season 3 will deliver. 1680 is where the big money is with ancient accessories. You can gamble and then get like millions of gold. But you need plus 20 all advanced hone before transfer. Less plus 20 pieces you have, the harder it is, because you will lack a lot of shards. If you're 1660 eye level after transfer with no advanced hone, you're pretty much parking at egg gear normal to sell relic assets. But you can still open Ark Passive and still be strong. And naturally, when the mats will go down in price, you can regular hone up to 1680. If you're 1640 without transfer T3 gears, just like my last video, working on plus 20 advanced hone first, then transfer to work on your eye level is the best strategic way. Work on to open Ark Passive, and you can also push naturally to 1680, because you can advance hone first, then transfer, then switch that into ancient gear, and then you'll have enough points to open up Ark Passive too. If you're 1640 with transfer, no advanced honing, you're technically a new player. You would be hanging around that 1640 for a while, selling relic accessories and relic assets. You can natural hone to 1660 to run egg gear normal, that would be your goal. Therefore, you need to make a decision if you want to push to 1680 or 1660. 1680 requires a lot of assets, so you have to make your goals realistic. Just like my last videos, transfer gears carefully. 1660s can still progress slowly and open Ark Passive to be at least 12% more powerful. And egg gear normal is actually extremely easy. It's very chill, and you don't really need that much of a high spec to safely clear it. And if you reach 1680 from that point, you will have an option to naturally transition to T4 nodes by switching 1 or 2 ancient accessories. Prices will be down at that point as well. And since West has time to prepare and see first, before Season 3, I would try to finish Advanced Hone if possible, if you plan to get 1680 or if it's your main. If no Transcendence and Elixir, 1680 is really not recommended. Stock up on cube tickets. I heard that it takes about 180 cube tickets to go from 60 to 70 right away, but you don't really need that much, just try to stock up as much as you can. Eye level 1660 is absolutely okay. You don't need to FOMO. Running egg gear is most important for ancients to let you open Ark Passive. And again, opening Ark Passive at 1660, as long as you have enough ancient gear, just buying random asset relic accessories will have you open up Ark Passive, which is really good. After Season 3, at September when the season starts, you have to save fragments, transfer from alts if you can, and try to switch to Ark Passive after 2 to 3 ancient gears. You can mix in relic accessories, and you can also buy polished relic accessories for cheap too. Even 1660s can open Ark Passive at week 5 doing egg gear normal. Even without T4 nodes, you're still more powerful to get you set up for new content. So with that, I will end the short video here. It might be a little bit confusing because you guys haven't experienced Season 3 yet, so if you have any additional questions, dropping by the live stream is the best way to know specific details. With that, I will end the video here. Thanks guys, bye bye!